and getting this reporting sorted, is obviously like a win on its own. But it's also really just the starting point because, once you've got, I guess, accurate sort of up-to-date reporting in place, you're in a completely different position. And, I think sort of the opportunity is it's not just really helping, for instance, a farmer solve that one thing, it's actually sort of turning those moments or asks into ongoing service offerings. And I think that's where, the real value is for, the advisor, as well as the farmer in this instance as well. And Jim, just before I pass it back over to Matt, sort of anything you're keen to sort of touch on or add around sort of turning any of those sort of one-off asks that you get into maybe something more structured and regular for any of your farmers?
I certainly used to be more in the one-off space, and I still have plenty of that as well. From a client point of view, though, that is not always the best outcome for them. So increasingly, I'm moving towards trying to build more regular check-ins, which is, good for us as advisors because we can build plans and scale around doing that. But from the client point of view, knowing that they've got that in their diary, we're going to check in at this point. We'll get our zero file up to date. We'll get our figured forecast up to date. And then off the back of having that data all there, maybe it needs a little bit of work done together before we catch up, that you can then work more in the advice space and decision support space than in just the getting the data right. And so certainly that's where we're moving a lot more to, rather than just being reactive. The downside to clients on that is that my biggest challenge was availability. I might have 3 clients in 1 week have a bank review and need their things, their figured files updated, and that you kind of make that work, but not always in the best way for the client. But if there's predictability in when you're going to check in and catch up, that's built around their season. So looking in a couple of our districts, there's some key points of the year that are a good time to check in. So, late spring, for our spring croppers, we know what they've managed to get in the ground and what's got out of it. And so we get an idea of that. So that's a great time to check in around October, November. And if they've got a grazing business in with that, they've probably got their lambing and calving number as well. So you did your original budget back in May and June, and then around that October, November time, you can check in and do your first forecast. So rather than going one off, being more predictable and scheduled around that suits the clients. They get the availability of the advice and the data, and everyone knows what's happening when. That's definitely a good way for us to go as advisors, and in particular for the clients.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a win-win for the full farming team, right? So thanks for sharing.